so Caleb and I are in the kitchen today. We are making Macho Nachos. This is a family dinner that we used to have when I was a kid growing up. Sundays are always must-go night, clean out the fridge. And when we didn't have any must-goes or things that needed to be cleaned out or left over, we made Macho Nachos. So join with us as we make this today. All right, so our first step is we are going to brown our ground beef. So we have some in the freezer. I just pulled out a pack of it, defrosted in the microwave. It's still a little bit frozen in the middle, but that's okay because we're just gonna chop it up and cook it. So we're gonna dump this in the pan, okay? And we're gonna turn our heat on, medium, high heat. And we're just gonna kind of chop it up a little bit. Caleb, you wanna do that? Caleb's gonna chop it up a little bit. And we're gonna let it just get brown and in small little chunks. Okay, it's starting to sizzle. Do you wanna stir it? Okay, give it a good stir. Okay, that part's still frozen. We're gonna let that part get warm. Stir this part over here that's thawed. There you go.
Ooh, that's looking brown.
It's brown, huh? Some of it's brown.
Almost all of it.
Almost all of it. We want to make sure it's all brown though, because if we eat pink hamburger, we get sick.
How do you know it's all brown?
How do you know when it's all brown? You can look at it and see. See how this piece right here? Look at this piece. See how it's kind of brown on the edge, but it's still pink on the inside right there? Is it ready? Not yet. We're gonna put it back in. All right, so our burger is browned. You could also use ground chicken or ground turkey or ground venison, kind of whatever you have or whatever is your preference. In this recipe, it's really versatile. So our ground beef is brown. All right, so our ground beef is browned. And we are going to add our taco seasoning in. I like to make my own taco seasoning. I'll link the recipe below. You can also use a packet of taco seasoning, whatever you'd like. So I'm just gonna sprinkle this in. Make sure we get it all in there. And we're just gonna stir it up. Make sure that it is all distributed. In my taco seasoning, I like to use chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of cumin, a little bit of parsley, dry parsley, and I also like to use a little bit of beef bouillon. It gives it that saltiness, but it also gives it a little bit more beefy flavor. So that's what I like to use. So we're just gonna make sure this is all distributed throughout. If it starts to get a little bit dry or it's not distributing very well, you can add a little bit of water and let that just cook down. The water will just evaporate out, but it'll distribute the seasoning through the meat. So we're gonna finish this up and I'll show you how we're gonna put it together. All right, our next step, Caleb, what are we gonna do next?
Put it all together.
Put it all together. We're gonna put it together. I'm gonna start by preheating my oven to 350. So let's go ahead and take care of that. And then I've got my meat here that we browned. I'm gonna bring that back with me. So we've got our meat. I'm gonna spray our pan with some nonstick spray all over. Makes cleanup a little bit easier. And we're gonna take our refried beans. These are refried beans that are in the cold section at our HEB. You can use a can of refried beans. You can use black beans that you've blitzed in your, what's that thing called? Black beans.
In the blender.
In the blender. You can use black beans that you have blitzed in your blender or your food processor. But we're gonna use already made refried beans. We're gonna just put them in. Oh, Caleb, can you get mommy a spoon, please? Because we're gonna need that to spread this around. Good job. All right, so we're gonna put those beans in. That looks very appealing. All right, I'm gonna spread them. Do you want me to? Okay, spread those all out. So Caleb's gonna spread our beans all over the bottom of the pan. Good job. in the bottom, not up the sides. There you go. Okay, here we go, a little bit extra right here. So we're gonna spread this real quick. Ta-da-ta-da. Like that. All right, and then we're just gonna put that hamburger meat that we browned up. We're gonna just put that on top, make it sure it's kind of evenly distributed all over that, the top of the beans, and then we'll spread it out so it's nice and even. All right. And then we're gonna put on our shredded cheese. Caleb's gonna be our cheese man. We're just gonna put a nice, I like a heavy layer of cheese on the top. You can put as little or as much cheese as you like. We're gonna probably use around 2-ish cups, but kind of eyeball it. If you like more cheese, add more cheese. It's not gonna hurt it. Okay, some right over here. Good job, a little bit more around the edge there. Perfect.
More cheese.
More cheese? All right, you like a lot of cheese on yours too, huh? Nachos are best with a lot of cheese. I'm gonna put a little bit right here.
For you.
Perfect. All right, so we've got our Macho Nachos ready to go. We are gonna put them in the oven after it gets preheated, put it in the oven until it's kind of bubbly around the edge. It's gonna be probably about 15 to 20 minutes. Not long at all, but we're gonna stick it in there and get it ready to go. All right, so here's our timer. We're gonna check it and see how it looks. It's looking bubbly all around the outside edge. And it's starting to get a little bit bubbly on the middle, so it looks like it's ready to go. I'm just gonna pull this out. And we will be ready to eat. All right, so our nachos are finished. They're nice and hot, bubbly. We like to eat our nachos just with tortilla chips, just your favorite tortilla chip. You can also add other things to beef them up and make them more macho. You can add pickled jalapenos, salsa, guacamole, sour cream, whatever you want to put on these, go for it. So here's a family recipe for you. Enjoy.